We were recently asked by a customer to come up with a log sequence and a solution for turning on an external satellite feed and then having it sit there and wait for a second external trigger in order to play the next sequence of audio, which could be an advert break, a jingle, or anything else, and then turn the satellite feed back on again. So here's what we've come up with. This is just one way to do it. I'm sure that there are several other different ways, and Pete may come up with a different solution altogether, but this is how I've got it working in testing here on my system today. It consists of two media items. First one is a switch on satellite media item. It's actually a command, and we're assuming that in this case we have a hardware line that we need to turn on in order to switch on an external source. Now, in practice, that could actually be an IP command or something else, but to demonstrate it, we're using a hardware line. So this is hardware line number one. So number one is the one we're using for turning on an external audio source. And we also have a second media item, which is going to turn off that exact same line, but also press a go on the log, which I'll explain as we go through the clock and the log. And there's one other final thing which is important, is that in the hardware settings, we have a virtual network hardware device, which is emulating a physical hardware device. And this has inputs and outputs. And what I've done is I've assigned a input trigger to line number 10. So see, line number 10 is going to use a media item control, and it's going to play item 1519, which is the one we were just looking at a few seconds ago. Now, if I bring up the hardware device monitor, you can see here are the triggers that are in there. And if I was to just double click on this in the media wall, it will turn on external source one. So you can see it's on there. Every time I click on Myriad, it goes out of focus, of course. And if I was to run media item 1519, it's turned it off. It also threw up an error there because it threw a go command and the log wasn't running, so there was no go to actually execute. So let's have a look how we needed to deal with that in Myriad Schedule then. So the clock is very simple for this. I've started with a jingle. We didn't have to have the jingle in there. I just wanted to put one in just to demonstrate. So it's going to play a jingle, and it's then going to move on to a command, which is actually a basic media item. So it's definitely going to play item 1518, which was the media item that turns on the satellite feed. We want to be in live assist mode, and we want to have a red stop on the end of the command. Then after that, the system, what will happen is it will play this jingle. It will run this media item, which will turn on the external satellite feed. It will then wait, because of the stop, until it receives a go. So when the external trigger triggers media item 1519, that will turn off the external feed and send a go command. It will then play this next jingle, which could be a jingle, a song, a collection of songs, have a break, whatever audio you want to play. And then we're going to repeat the sequence again. So it will play this whatever content you want, and then get to the command, which turns the satellite back on again, and there's a stop. So this is assuming we want to listen to the satellite, and then when we get a trigger, play some local content, and then when the local content is finished, go back to the satellite again. Okay, I've assigned that to the 5 o'clock hour across the board here. So if I go onto Myriad, onto the log here, and fill the hour at 5 o'clock, you can see here it is in practice. So we've got our jingle there, and then we've got our command. So in order to show you this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start us off, and then I'm going to bring in the hardware manager, the hardware monitor, to allow us to see the switching going on in practice. So let's just press go.
Log on to our website, www.hotfmradio.co.uk.
So that's the jingle finished, and the external source is turned on as the jingle finished. So this is now the satellite feeding your station, and it's playing out whatever it's going to. And at some point there'll be an external trigger, which is going to come in on number 10.
Now, here comes Hot FM Radio 24/7.
The external source was off while the audio was playing, and then as the audio finished, the external source was switched back on again. So that was the first. Now we're now into the second section of the satellite feed. We can repeat again.
Now, here
You see it's
comes
off
Hot
here.
FM Radio 24/7.
Okay. Sequence finished. We went straight into the 6 o'clock hour and started with a song. So that's one way you can set up a system to react to external hardware trigger and turn on another source. You can get more complex with the commands, so you could have them conditional, so they only work on certain days or certain times. But this gives you the basics, so you can now go away and do something very exciting. For more videos, documentation, and ideas, keep checking our help desk.